This is a subject that I've talked about quite a bit. What's more important I'm just going to say what's more important for Kirby, the recruiting or the development? So this is a chicken and the egg conversation, but the problem with it comparing it to the chicken and egg is you have to acquire the chicken and the egg in this case. So I think it really is recruiting. I think that's the number one thing that Georgia does well or better than everybody else. But I will say that I think development this is a little bit. It's going to take me a second or two to explain this. At the beginning of Kirby's time, he was really dinged for, oh, all this guy can do is recruit. This is all he can do is recruit. But over time, we've seen the development of a lot of players. I mean, Stetson is the easiest example, but I mean, Javon Bullard is one too, and Jordan Davis, who played in the Super Bowl last night. So it's not just N'Kobe Dean and JT Daniels. I mean, there are a lot of people who have come through this program who have been developed. But I think at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day, I guess you could say, if you're not acquiring talent, you can't develop it. That's what I would say. Did y'all see, by the way, did y'all see the DoorDash commercial last night? And I am going to say this. They're delivering groceries now. We have really hit peak awesomeness in America. Limited time, our listeners can get 50% off, $20 value, $0 in delivery fees when you download the DoorDash app and enter the code DAWG, DAWG. That's 50% off, $20 value. $0 in delivery fees for groceries. When you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the code DAWG, don't forget this dog, DAWG. Just like Dog Post, 50% off, $20 value, $0 in delivery fees, DoorDash app, subject to change, terms apply. When I saw that commercial, I was like, yes, I cannot believe they're delivering groceries too. What is happening right now? Awesomeness. Because, I mean, as great as it is eating out, and this is just as an aside, as great as it is eating out or getting to go, I mean, I would in many ways prefer, if I didn't have to clean the kitchen, I would definitely prefer cooking at home. And now that groceries are being delivered by folks like DoorDash, 20%, 50% off, $20 value, $0 in delivery fees. Uh, that's pretty good value. Now, um, what happens when you don't get a player? Well, you can't develop them, right? I mean, um, you can't develop David Andrews or really any offensive lineman. It's the offensive linemen that are really where you see quote development. This is the number one thing, the number one area on a football team where you can develop is the offensive line. I think they've definitely developed Warren McClendon, Xavier Truss, certainly Cedric Van Pran. Center is a spot that I think you have to develop at center. I mean, left tackle, right tackle, you can kind of go get your athlete and let them play. But at center, there's so much that goes on with being a center that there's work involved there that's beyond just the typical football player. It's not different than I mean, it's different than being a quarterback, but I mean, he's got his hands on your ass, so that's an important, intimate relationship, and you need to be ready to go with the quarterback when that happens. I think developing centers, um, that's an important, thing, and I think Georgia does that very well and has done that well for some time now. Um, but I do think it's recruiting. At the end of the day, I think at the beginning of the Kirby time. Georgia did not, Kirby specifically did not get the credit for development and coaching. It really was, hey, this guy, for lack of a better term, is John Calipari. He's going to go get guys in and win with talent. And by the way, I'm a huge believer in that. That is the number one thing I would be doing. I would be going and getting talent. Um, but I think what was missed from critics and talking heads from the beginning of the Kirby time was that there are players that have come on. Christopher Smith is a great example too, of guys who are not overwhelmingly heralded coming out of high school that have been developed into really good players. I want to add too that there have been some really good high school players, Broderick Jones, that came out as five-star guys that are leaving as first-round talent. Now, as much as I believe in recruiting, and I do, I mean, recruiting over everything, okay? But as much as I believe in that, you still have to get guys out the door. You still have to develop. You still have to have them ready to play in big moments. And you saw that with Broderick. Um, Broderick Jones, you know, at Lithonia was a good player. It was evident that he had athleticism that a lot of other people didn't have. But his first year at Georgia in 20, he didn't play all the time. He was not a full-time starter. I don't know if he was a starter, but he started playing by the end of the year against South Carolina, and you know, I can't remember the Peach Bowl if Broderick played, but I do remember him against South Carolina and Missouri. But Broderick was developed. I mean, by different offensive line coaches too, by the way. But Broderick was developed, and I think there has to be some recognition of that. Everybody's not Stetson Bennett. What I mean by that, everybody's like this walk-on story that you're getting, some guy that you had in your system for 5 years. If anybody's a system quarterback too, by the way, and like benefiting from a system, it's Stetson Bennett. You can pick a double dogs up. The link is down below. Those are getting shipped out in late February. I don't know exactly when, late February, and early March. So late February, of course, which means within the next 2 weeks. The printing process has begun, but there's been a lot of people that have ordered the book, thankfully, and I just want to get it out to y'all as fast as I can. That is the fastest I can do it. It's not a book, y'all. People, I get emails every day, which I don't have a problem with that. It's not a book that was written before the season or during the season. This is a look at the season with the knowledge of everything, having to talk to people behind the scenes. So I couldn't just write it in like a week. I mean, it takes time to write these things. But I point Stetson out in that there's so many different types of players that are in this program at Georgia. Um, Former walk-on star, Lad McConkey, star, Broderick Jones, star, Mikael Williams, star, uh, Malachi Starks, star. So these guys, the truth is, you cannot have success without both. Okay, if you only have development, and I mean this isn't the end of the world, then you're Kansas State, and they do a great job of developing and coaching. They're not winning national championships. If you only recruit, then you are. I mean, right now, John Calipari is the person that gets the most criticism and probably deserves it. But I mean, well, okay, I mean, it's not apples to apples, but you're Texas A&M, so um, I I think you have to have both, but recruiting is more important because again, I can't develop a space of air. You know, I can't develop something I don't have. And what Georgia's done an excellent job of over time. And remember, Keely Ringo played 30-ish games for Georgia. He did not play his first season. Was he better at game one than game 30? No. And that's development. You know, Brock Bowers has been developed too. Carson Beck is going to be probably the best example of this because Carson was a really good high school quarterback. I mean, again, he won a state championship. Um, at Mandarin, a place that is basically Forest Park High School in Georgia. Our friend Chad Simmons, that's where he went to school with Hines Ward. Forest Park's not winning any state championships. They won it because of how good Carson was with the guys around him. Now we're going to see, after 4 years of Carson not playing and him likely being the quarterback starting at Georgia in the fall, what's that going to be like? Has he developed? Has he gotten better? When he's played, it looks like he's gotten better. But we don't, I mean, we're going to really, he is a very good part of this discussion of, are they really developing guys? I don't think there's any question about that part. How well are they developing guys? We're going to see. Carson is a very good test theory here on all of this.